Harry, what comes to mind when you hear about a case involving petroglyph or ancient site sort of vandalism, um, considering probably how much you care about these lands that you work to oversee?
I care a lot about these lands. I do a tremendous amount of hiking. I go into the backcountry a lot on my own. We find a lot of these sites. By and large, most people leave them alone, but they like them. People like to see these things. They're unique. They represent a cultural timestamp, right? You see something that somebody else put there 1,000 years ago. That's pretty cool. But when I come upon people that feel like they have to put their names on it or write something derogatory on it, it makes me angry.
Unfortunately, I mean, I've been out hiking too. You just see this, right? You see people that have etched their own engraved initials and things, and you see them defaced, but it's not often you see a picture of someone defacing said petroglyph. So this is an added element. Is it something you often see?
It's not, and this is unique, and I do want to point that out. The area where this happened in Wire Pass is a popular area. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and I was amazed at the number of people that did not know that panel was there, and they were standing less than 50 feet from the panel. I pointed out to a group that was there that this panel is right there in front of you, and they just were amazed. They thanked me for showing it to them. They took pictures. They were careful not to touch it. They had come from different places. I talked to them about where they came from, and now they came from wherever. New York, they came from San Francisco. Now they're standing here in front of this panel. It's what you just asked me is unique because something similar happened during this event. These people were writing their names on the panel, doing whatever, and members of the public actually went to them and told them, hey, shouldn't be doing this. And these individuals blew them off and basically ignored those members of the public. So I give credit to the members of the public that approached them and said, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. And those members of the public that did that, they went another step and came into one of our visitor centers to report what happened, and they actually provided us with the evidence. So if it wasn't for people like that, we don't even know that these things happen.
If and when you find these individuals, what could be a penalty of sort for defacing something like this?
So what we're trying to do is we're offering $1,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest of some sorts. So that's what we're doing in this particular case, is offering that reward to people that turn them in, and we're able to make something concrete out of this. And then I leave it up to our law enforcement people and to a judge to determine what the level of penalty is.
What's the emotion behind this for somebody that works in your realm? And I mean, you were just there explaining the relevance and the significance of some of these ancient sites. How does it feel to at least look at that picture and see what is taking place on our public lands?
When I saw that, I became angry because I was just there. And this is a really, really cool panel. And for the number of people to see it every year, the number of people that go in there and see this, by and large, they leave it alone and they just admire it, or they don't even see it, right? They just walk on by. But when I see people are damaging it, it's kind of like somebody going to your house and feeling like they have to throw a rock through the window or something like that. And you come out and say, "What are you doing? Why are you vandalizing my home?" Well, in a sense, this is kind of our home. I work here. My employees work here. We work to take care of it. We work to educate people. And I would think by today's standards, people should generally know that writing your name or anything else on a petroglyph or pictograph panel is something that's just unheard of.
How common is this in the general scope of things where you're getting a report such as this, or local law enforcement, perhaps in Kane County, for example, is getting something like this that says, hey, we saw something that looked a little unusual, potentially illegal, and not law abiding when it pertains to this?
It's not very common that we actually get the people that saw it happen to come tell us what they saw. It's probably too common that we find sites that have something scratched in them. I don't know what it is with some people. If they see, again, they see your house and feel like they got to go damage your house. I don't know what gets into people's minds when they see this 1,000-year-old panel and they think to themselves, I think I'll put my name on it. That to me is difficult to understand.
Can you describe what this art demonstrates or shows? Like, do you know it well enough to be able to describe kind of what the origin is behind this certain wall panel?
In terms of where it came from, who put the panel there? And so we typically refer to the individuals that came in and placed this work in these canyons as the ancient Puebloans. And so we're talking about work that was done, rock writing that was done anywhere from 900, 1,200 years ago. So it's been there a long time waiting for us to see, not waiting for us to come and put our signature on it.
Is there any signage in that area that has folks reminded maybe about this, about defacing, or is this an area that is a little bit more off the grid and there isn't as plastered with signage to tell people the obvious, don't do this?
We have some signage back at the trailhead, and I think there's some reference to that. But I'm kind of hoping, in terms of our visitors, it's like going to a museum. Does somebody have to tell you not to step over the barrier at a museum, to put a mustache on the Mona Lisa? You kind of recognize that when you're in somewhere special like that, you just take it all in, right? And so I don't know, again, what gets into people's heads and lets them think that there's no other names on there. All these people are standing here, but I think I'm special enough. I should put my name on the panel. We do our best to take care of public lands. We work here. We manage this for the public. By and large, the public comes and enjoys it, and they're good, and they have a great time out on Grand Staircase, Escalade National Monument, and on the Canal Field office. We get a few like these individuals. I think I'd want people to know we want you to come out, we want you to visit, we want you to have a good time, but just respect public lands, and in particular, respect these cultural sites.